Welcome to the Daily Insider. I'm Tommy Freeze-Pops. I'm filling in for Kevin Rogers today, and I'm joined by some familiar faces here. We have Devin Walker, who joins us.
It's going to be a good day.
Yeah, he joins us occasionally here on the Daily Insider. Hello, Devin.
Look at it, Tommy.
He's getting jacked over here over the Celtics.
I'm getting ripped up for the boys. I'm bleeding green.
I love it. And we're also joined by a friend of ours on Twitter Spaces, now a friend of ours on the Daily Insider, Reno Johnny, Jonathan Jorston.
What's up, fellas?
What is going on? We have a squad today, fellas. We're bringing the Twitter Spaces to YouTube. I don't know if YouTube can handle this.
Ooh. I hope they increase their bandwidth because we're about to break the internet, baby.
So let's talk about last night, can we?
I'd love to.
Can we just spend some time talking about last night? Devin, why don't you take the floor here and just talk about our boys down in Miami and how well they did?
Let's just talk about everybody playing within themselves. Let's talk about a group of guys with their backs against the wall, going down, okay, to a party city and staying focused, all right? Let's chat for 1 second about Jason Tatum being the best player on the court and it not being close. Let's chat for a second about Jaylen Brown limiting the turnovers, all right? Why don't we have a brief conversation about what Marcus Smart brings to this basketball team, okay? Because it's not just defense. And he's the ultimate no, yes guy. And I hate when he shoots the three. But last night it was falling and I was sitting there saying, Marcus Smart, take me to the promised land, baby. I was bleeding green. I'm feeling clean. And the Celtics are looking mean. Let's go, boys. Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6 was my pick before the series. I feel even stronger about it now, obviously, after seeing what they did last night. Johnny, were you expecting the Celtics to come out and play as dominantly as they did? I know that you've been trying to kind of throw water on us Celtics fans on the Twitter Spaces, but I mean, it's hard to deny what they did last night.
I can't deny what they did last night. I wasn't on the game personally. I hated the spot. I thought that it was I don't think having Horford and Smart was the reason that, they lost, or not having them was the reason why they lost by so much, and having them is the reason they won by so much. I think last night was definitely a Celtics game. I don't think this series is over. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. I think this series probably goes 7. I still like the Heat in the long run. And I just think that you can't – there's some players that you guys kind of – like Smart hasn't had a good playoff, I don't think. And all in all, he had a good game. Can he be consistent enough to not be that no guy? I don't know. I think that both these teams have proven they can win on the road in these playoffs. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back to Miami at 2-2. I think Carroll has to play a lot better than he did for the Heat to have a chance. You can't be the 6th man off, of the year and get 11 points. I definitely was not on the game. Hard to say, but I actually hoped, and again, with no action, I wanted the Heat to win because I was in my mind, I was like, okay, if he can pull this out, I am firing Game 3 on the Celtics. I was going to unload Game 3 on the Celtics. Them winning by so much actually makes me think a little bit, because what the line's probably going to be a little bit higher than I would like to if I'm going to bet on the Celtics. Both these teams can win on the road. I was just hoping they lose. Now they're down 0-2 at home, have to win the game, and that was the game they were just going to roll them. The 1-1 series going back to Boston has me a little bit worried to just fire on Boston the way I had originally planned to in Game 3. So I was kind of doing a look ahead, lay off this game, get ready to fire Game 3. Didn't exactly go the way I want, because now that line is going to be higher than I think it should be.
We're looking at Celtics 6.5 at the moment for tomorrow night. That's a big number.
Insane.
But Devin, and correct me if I'm wrong, PJ Tucker banged up. Kyle Lowry, will he ever play basketball again? And honestly, Bam Adebayo, I'm no doctor, but what's going on with that guy? Is Grant Williams and Robert Williams and Al Horford bottling him up that much that he's just completely ineffective? Or is there something going on there? I think the Heat are a little bit more banged up than people realize heading into TD Garden.
I think everybody at this point in the season is banged up, right? And I think that the Celtics have battled through a little bit more adversity this season physically. And they are a little bit more battle tested when it comes to who's the next guy that's going to step up right now. Mind you, that Bucks series goes without Robert Williams for 3 games, right? So, and he did, I mean, he dressed for game 7, but he didn't play. In his back, him being back, his presence in this series was felt in the first 2 games immensely. Last night, only 5 points, fine, wasn't a big offensive presence, but he makes you think, right? He makes you think when the Heat are on offense, always in the back of their mind is, so I need to go and create contact in the lane, which is going to make the shot harder than it needs to be. Because if I go straight up and try to just go with the rim, they've got a legitimate top 5 rim protector in this game. And that's something that we can't undervalue. Like his value to this team, I'm not surprised that Bam is struggling. Like I mentioned this in the space, I got shit for it. Bam Adebayo worked Daniel Tice in the bubble. Everyone's saying, oh, it's 2020. Who cares? It matters, right? Daniel Tice saw how many minutes last night? How many meaningful minutes last night? 0. He will continue to see 0 as long as Robert Williams and Al Horford are healthy. And right now, they are as healthy as they're going to be. And I don't think it's an injury issue with Bam or as much as it would be with anybody else that's playing high-level basketball this late in the season, right? Everyone's going to be a little banged up. For me, it's about the Celtics are a really bad matchup for the Heat when they're doing their jobs. And I mentioned this yesterday in the spaces. It sounds corny to use the Patriots, mantra for a Celtics team, but that truly is what's going to define this team. If they stay within themselves, if they play their position, quite literally, right? Just do what you do. Don't worry about what everyone else does. They're going to be a very, very tough out. And I mean, I don't want to look forward, but whoever comes out of the West, they're going to be a very tough out for whoever comes out of the West. I mean, this team, when they're firing on all cylinders, is as good a team we've seen in these playoffs or anyone in the last 4 years. They've got superstars. They've got role players. They've got rim protectors. They play team defense. They've got an engaging coach. They have a dominant fan base. I mean, there isn't anything here that you're not seeing. And if they do get by this series, they've got home court. I don't see where this really goes wrong.
I see a Celtics futures bet in your future here, Devin. If you don't already have,
I already hammered them after game 1.
I hammered them back in February when they were below 500. So that's a juicy little ticket that's been sitting on my betting app. And every day that goes by, every game that goes by, obviously game 1 wasn't great to blow that lead, but after last night, I just start feeling a little bit better every single day that goes by. We have Gino in our comments here on YouTube firing away. If you guys have comments on YouTube or on Twitter, hit us up. Let us know what you want to talk about. Gino saying they don't have home court versus the Warriors. So,
yeah, they will. Warriors were the 3 seed, weren't they?
It's still based on record, though.
Yeah.
It's not based on seeding. It's based on record.
Oh, it's only based on
goes by win-loss, right?
It goes by win-loss in the finals.
And to echo you, Reno, Gino says, I feel the same way as Johnny. I wanted it to be 2-0 to hammer the Celtics. Also needed a little comeback so Tatum would come back and get 2 more points. So Gino wanting the Celtics to lose in game 2. That didn't happen. You could still hammer the Celtics game 3 if you'd like. I just want to throw that out there, Gino. It's still available for you.
I do want to say what that series though, and I look, I think this series is far from over. If you give me 2 teams, okay, the Boston Celtics are not that much better. I will say, and I've said this all along, I think Ime is a good coach. Something happened in January, right, where something happened with the team. All in all, the coaching advantage is not on Ime. And if you look at the Celtics series right now, they beat the Nets, which we can all agree were just completely overrated. They had Kevin Durant and nobody else. And they beat the Bucks, who didn't have their number 2 and had nobody else but Giannis. people kind of overlooked the Heat because of the way the Celtics performed in their first 2 series against teams that really had one guy and everybody else. I don't believe that. I believe the Celtics have a superstar and a bunch of big-time role players. I don't think I'm putting Marcus Smart as a superstar because he's too inconsistent.
He's
Jason
definitely
Tatum
not a superstar.
is the man.
Yeah, he's definitely
Jason
Marcus
Tatum.
Smart. No one's confusing him with a superstar.
You know what though? He's a,
That's my
and this
thing.
this is
He's a
cliche
role
to
player.
say, but he is a winning player, right? Like I know that we do the no, don't shoot thing, but that's a gamer. Like
I have a
he's going to
question for
make
you.
that play. You
I have a
know,
question for you. You need a shot, and the ball's in Marcus Smart's hands, and you need a bucket. Is that the
No.
guy you want?
no, but that's why you
no.
have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown,
That's what I'm
Grant
saying.
Williams.
And I think on the Heat, you kind of have the same dynamic. You know, give Butler the ball. Everybody else is kind of a role player filling in the side to him. This series is far from over. I think what happened in the Celtics too, and I'll say this, I think people saw the Heat. Oh my God, game 2 got to be Heat. That's why I laid off. I'm like, I don't know, because it was such a big second half for the Heat. People were like, oh yeah, no way, he can win this. People were saying Heat in 6, right? Heat in 6. That was the biggest thing on Twitter, right? Except for Celtic fans. But as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm going to lay off because I think a lot of people are probably thinking the same thing. I'm going to lay off. Boston comes back. Now what are people thinking? Boston in 6. Oh, Boston's way better because they had a big win. People tend to really overreact in these series. It's a long series. I mean, remember people when the Bucks took back home court advantage, people are like, oh, Bucks got this in the bag. And they give up that lead. And then they take the lead back in game 6. It's a long series. We have so much is going to happen. We might be here in 6 days talking about game 7.
It's true, but I mean, so the other thing that I'll say here is the Celtics have won 7 of the 8 quarters. So is it 1-1 in the series? Absolutely. But the battles that's going on inside of this war, they're not close. The Celtics, for me, are the better team, and they're the better team. It's not close for me, not just as a fan. As just someone that's objectively looking at rosters here, starting lineups, I should say, the Celtics are much better. Where the Heat have a chance is in their bench, which is why it scared me a little bit last night to see Oladipo get going in some garbage minutes, to see Robinson get going in some garbage minutes. Hero obviously has to play better. And Dedmon's, someone that can impact the game. So for me, the Heat's path to success is not through their starters. It's not, I'll tell you who it's not through, PJ Tucker. It's not through him. It's not through Strus. All right. Definitely not through him. And Bam Adebayo looks like a shadow of himself. So they're going to need 35 from Butler every game, and they're going to need their bench to have 40 or 50. If that doesn't happen, this series won't be close. But that's where their advantage is. And that's where I expect them to go. And it's another reason why I will continue to hammer the over in this series.
I think their advantage is their defense. That's their advantage. They can match up defensively. Like Butler didn't get 35.
They're the same team.
Did he? Oh, he got 41. Okay.
Yeah,
but
they're the same team.
They scored
defensively. Yeah, defensively they're the same team.
That's where they might be the same team, but for the Heat to come, they have to be better on the defensive side of the ball, which they were not in game 2. In game 1, they lost the first 2 quarters, but that third quarter they came in and they played some of the best defense for a quarter that I've seen all season. I mean, they held the Celtics to 14 points and scored 40. That was the game. And you can say, okay, they lost the 3 quarters, whatever. Last night they won the first 2 quarters huge, and that was the rest of the way they were coasting. You know what I mean? So, are you going to lay 6.5? Like, not money line on a parlay. Are you going to lay 6.5?
I might.
I probably will. I probably will. But what I'll definitely do, 100%, is throw up a 4-team teaser. It's going to start tonight, right? And I'll take the floor. I'll take the Warriors in the unders. I'll take the Warriors in the under tonight in a teaser with the Celtics in the over tomorrow. That'll be a little 4-team teaser that I throw out there. That's going to be something for me, like not to get off the Celtics completely, but to transition into this Warriors game. Again, it's not close to me who's the better team. I understand that the Warriors had a few growing pains, like all playing together in the playoffs. That makes sense to me, though, right? Klay wasn't 100%. Steph wasn't 100%. Draymond was doing too much. They're another team where if everyone plays their position, if they play their role, that's such a tough out. And I'll tell you who's not beating them, Luka, after 6 beers at lunch. Let me tell you this. As a guy who likes drinking cans, there's a place and a time.
So
and it's not at lunch before game 1 of the finals.
That was an old picture.
I don't care. I don't want to see him out in public drinking beer.
It's funny that it's circulated. That was not that day. That was an older picture.
I don't know, because I've got a lot of people in San Francisco, and allegedly Snapchat was ripping with Luka Doncic kind of out drinking at lunchtime. It circulated. We have that
and ran with it. Unless
we have intel.
There.
Yeah,
we have. Devin's got sources here.
Well,
that
I
was
need
there,
to know.
or they saw the picture.
I need to know. Allegedly, the San Francisco Snapchat had live footage, well, at least recorded footage of Luka having pints at lunch.
That was what I was told. That was an older picture. I remember, and here's why. And when I first saw it, I didn't think anything of it, because I remember when he first came to Dallas. I remember that picture looks really familiar. Like I had seen that before. I don't remember where that was something that I remember had circulated when he first came to Dallas a couple of seasons ago. Maybe he's back. I don't know. From what I think, I've been told that wasn't that day. That doesn't mean, whatever. People ran with it, but it's social media, run with it. But for me, that wasn't that day.
I'm going to run with it.
Yeah, perception is reality.
I did hear what is true is Luka was sick after game 1. He did battle an illness throughout the night. But it's the NBA. The next day they were probably here. Take this. We'll get you a little IV. So I don't expect him to miss any time or be lingered at all. But he was sick after game 1, which is one of my favorite props for the night is going to be Luka Doncic under 3.5 3-pointers. He's hit it. He hasn't hit it in the last 5 games. The problem with taking the under is he takes shots. He's taken 10 or more 3-point shots in 8 of his 11 playoff games this season. That's kind of worrisome because he's going to jack it up. But if he can just get 3 of 10 like he did last game, that's a winner. So I'm going to take the under in that game. Again, I don't know how close it's going to be. I think the Warriors are the much better team. I think the Dallas Mavericks kind of lucked out that the air in the bubble in Phoenix just burst and they had no motivation in game 7, which is really weird. And Luka just took over. So I'm going to be on the under in his 3-pointers tonight.
Yeah, look, the Warriors dominated game 1. I think that the Mavs have kind of outperformed who they are. I think that happens sometimes where you have a star and they just kind of carry you further than you should. Like, that happened with Dame a few years ago. We've seen it happen through the years. Yeah. And now that the West is a little weaker than it was, I think we're going to start to see these random teams in the Western Conference Finals over the next few years. We got the Warriors 6.5-point favorites. Again, a big line, big favorite. The total's at 214.5. Dubs money line -250, and the Mavs are at +205. Devin, what do you like for game 2 here? Do you like Dubs money line? Do you like the over or the under here? You like the spread? I know you were going to include them in a 4-teamer here. So what do you like for game 2?
Yeah, again, I like the under. I am on one Mav point total, and it's Jalen Brunson over 19 or more. That man is battle tested. And I know Luka's going to shoot it 25 times, probably 30 times. But if Brunson doesn't have 20, this will be another blowout. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I like the Warriors to win this game handily, 12-14. But I don't know if I'm looking at 25, 30-point blow the doors off them. And in order for that not to happen, Brunson's got to show up. So obviously I like the Warriors money line. I like the Warriors with the points, and I like the under. I just don't think that the Suns team defense was fool's gold. because Chris Paul was still out there. And DeAndre Ayton is good, but he's not Draymond Green good in the paint, right? They didn't really have an answer for Luka. Like Bridges did fine guard, but they did a really good job in pick and rolls and getting Luka favorable matchups. The only true favorable matchup right now that I'm seeing is if he can get on Steph one-on-one, because Klay, Wiggins, Draymond, Looney, even Poole when he's out there. Poole's a sneaky good defender. And these are 3-point shooters. They know how to defend 3-point shooters. So I really like the under in these games because I don't think Luka's going to stop shooting. I don't think he's going to score 35. And it's live or die by the three. And Oracle's a very tough place to play as an away team and to shoot a high percentage from three. That the largest fan advantages in these games are the Warriors and the Celtics, and it's not close. I don't know what they're doing in Miami, but that is not that.
No, they've never had a good home court advantage. They've always been known for everyone showing up dressed in their club attire and leaving mid-third quarter. I mean, we all remember the Ray Allen shot. Half the stadium was empty when Ray Allen hit one of the greatest shots in the history of the NBA.
Chill.
So
we don't like that shot down here in Texas, all right?
Hey, as a Celtics fan, when it was at the height of that rivalry, I didn't like seeing him do that for them either. No. We have Gino on YouTube saying, people want to say the Mavs played bad, but let's be honest, the Warriors didn't play their A game on offense. Steph and Klay didn't shoot well, and they won by 25. Scary for the Mavs. And I have a point on this. I was looking through the numbers on game one. The Dubs were 10 for 29 from three. That's very undub-like, 34% from three. But this is where it gets scary for the Mavericks. 7 Warriors in double figures, no player over 21 points. They have balance right now. They have a bunch of guys that can do things. And Otto Porter wasn't even in that 7-player grouping there. So there's depth with the Warriors that they haven't had since those championship teams. And they're going up a Mavericks team who I think we all agree is pretty overmatched. So I'm looking at some Doncic props here on game 2. And look, he was sick. He's doing things by himself. The shoulder's been bugging him. So I'm looking at Doncic going under 31.5 for points. I'm looking at him having over 4.5 turnovers. He had 7 in game 1. The offense runs through him, right? So he's going to have enough possessions to hit that over. And then I'm also looking at the under 49.5 for points, assists, rebounds. That number is super high. I don't even think he cracked 30 in game 1. So I'm looking at John. Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking at Doncic having. He's good. Look, he might have the best game for the Mavs, but I don't know that he's going to be able to dominate, just given how much wear and tear there is on his body right now, and how he doesn't have that supporting cast. And the Warriors, they're not going to go 10 for 29 again from 3. That's just not going to happen. So I could see this thing getting out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm the other side of the coin here, devil's advocate, if you will.
Okay, let's hear it.
Look, people see a 25-point game, Warriors didn't even shoot well, great. But I'm going to take you back to a little point in time when I thought the Suns were going to roll the Mavericks, crushed them twice at home. They're up 2-0. No way the Mavericks are going to come back from this at all. And what do? You mentioned the 2 home court advantages. The Mavericks, and I hate to say this because I hate the Mavericks, they have actually a really, really, really good home court advantage. In these playoffs especially, they've proven they can win there. They get hot there. They can shoot there. So this series is also not over. I do think the Warriors are the better team. I think it's real easy to be like, oh, they just won by 25. The line's 6.5. It's easy. Take it. 6.5 for sure. They're going to do it again. They're going to shoot better. I'm kind of looking at it where I don't know if it's going to be that big of a blowout. Doncic is going to take it into his own hands. If he can hit some shots, if Dinwiddie can hit some shots, if Brunson can get to 20, like Devin says, to make it somewhat competitive. And I think somewhat competitive is still losing by 15. If they can lose by 15 points, they can score 100. That's why I kind of like the over in the situation, because I think the Mavericks, to make it any kind of competitiveness, they got to get to 100. If they don't get to 100, 30-point, pack your bags, go to Dallas, because that's not going to – they need to get to 100. And I think that if the Mavericks get to 100, Warriors can still get to 115, 116. I kind of like the over in this matchup. I think that the last 87-point game, and I've told you this, we've talked about it, Mavericks just put up 18-point quarters, and they do it often. This is a game where they can't have that. They got to get to 25 a quarter. They got to make sure they get to 100. They do that. I like the over. I'm probably going to not take a side on this game either. NBA playoffs, I really try to be selective. I'm not going to – if I have to bet it 6.5 Warriors, I'll lay it. But I just think that this is almost too easy. Too easy. We saw 25 points. There's no way they can keep it close. Everybody's thinking about it too. I think the bet handle percentage on this is insane. Everybody's on the Warriors, which is why, like last game, it was 5.5. It opened up a full point higher. And that's just, and that same thing with the Celtics. If they don't win by 25, that they are not 6.5-point favorites at home. They're probably 3 to 4 point favorites at home.
I want to shout out our guy Seth Lockhart here on YouTube. He says there were a row of guys in Celtics jerseys courtside in Miami. Boston would never let Miami do that to them in the Garden. Speaking to the different home court advantages we're seeing amongst these Final Four teams, I think we can all agree 3 of the 4 have really strong home court advantages.
Miami never had it. Never had it.
It's funny. They keep touting. I think this was like the 500th straight sellout at FTX Arena. They keep selling the thing out, but that's kind of one of those things. It's like it's a sellout, but are there actually people in the seats?
It's insane because even when they got LeBron and they brought in LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Bosh and they were competing and they were perennial national championship contenders, you would still watch the game. LeBron Game 3 finals and they're at home. Game 2 finals are at home, and half the crowd's still not there. And to me, it's insane. Like, you're in the championship. Mm-hmm. You have the best player, arguably, ever to play the game. You still don't go to the game. It's insane to me. It's really weird.
We've got a viewer who's here to tout the Twitter spaces. So kudos to you guys last night. Brendan saying, let's talk briefly about the advice I got from the VI spaces. This guy, T. Forder. Is that how you pronounce that? Forder? T. Forder?
TP Hoarder, which is actually
Hoarder.
Yeah, that's actually Bryler Sperry's burner account. We had a really funny scenario there where Bryler came on as TP Hoarder, and we didn't realize that
he didn't know he was on his burner.
He didn't know he was on his burner account.
Classic. Well, TP Hoarder, which is a hilarious name now that you can see why I messed that up. The PH with the F noise. Had it dialed, Boston over teaser hit, player prop parlay of unders on Strus Oladipo threes hit. Love this kid. So there you go. Listen to the Twitter spaces, guys. You can make money doing so. And
last night
like to make money.
Was particularly hot, and I will say that the Celtics came through yet again to complete a 7-play parlay that I had dialed over the span of 48 hours.
Wow. That's big. 7?
It was a 7.
Just
it was no, so it was Warriors in the under, and then I had 3 random baseball games, just money lines, and then I had the Celtics plus. I bought 2 points, got them plus 6.5, and the over 204.5, and that happened in the third quarter. So it was a great day. It was a plus almost 3,600, a little over 3,500. And I've got some units to burn tonight. So I shouldn't say burn, should I? I've got some units to multiply now. Yeah, to multiply. And it is, I understand it's like, we've done this before where it's like every single person in Vegas is going to be hammering the Warriors. And I get that. I understand it. To me, 6.5 is low. If I was handicapping this game, I'm putting it at 8.5. The difference in, we're talking just about the players. That's fine, right? And about the teams. That's fine. Let's talk about experience, right? Let's talk about what it takes to win away conference final playoff games. There isn't a person on the Mavs that I know of that has experience in this situation. There's not one single person. And you're going up against a team where half the team, right? Whether or not some of their big like locker room guys are injured, but they're still in the locker room. They're still calming people down from the bench. When you're out there and you've got Steve Kerr, 5-time champion, I believe. I think he won 5 with the Bulls. And he's out there calming you down. Steph Curry, six-time champion as your head coach. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, multiple-time champions on the court as generals. That's a different kind of animal. Seth has said it, Gino's saying it in the comments. The Suns are not the Warriors are not the Suns. It's a completely different team. It's a completely different coach. It's a team with experience. It's a team that knows how to win. And it's just overall, it's like, I don't understand one advantage that the Mavs have when they're playing at the Warriors. Where's one advantage?
So the only advantage is Luka if Luka is playing at his apex, which he's not right now. Like they don't have a guy to D up Doncic unless they're going like Draymond full court and he randomly takes like steroids before the game, right? Like that's it. You're totally spot on here. I think the talent gap between these teams is tremendous. I think the Suns ran out of gas and Luka was Luka for a few games and now they're here and they're overmatched. Let's bring Reno Johnny back in. Looked like he had some sort of computer emergency happening.
But he won 3 with the Bulls. It's 5.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I know he won with the Spurs. So when you
three with the Bulls, 2 with the Spurs.
Yeah, 2 with the Spurs.
But I'm just thinking here, like talent Warriors, experience Warriors, coaching Warriors, home court Warriors. How's this game close? And maybe that's a wishful thinking.
That's the simple way of thinking about it too.
But sometimes I forget who said it. Sometimes the simplest way is the right way. It's like don't confuse it for yourself. And what avenue can the Mavs take to be successful in this contest? Unless they shoot 45% from 3 and they shoot 53s.
Let's look at a comment here from our friend Seth Lockhart on YouTube. He says, just saying, Klay might be in for a huge night. I'm all over Klay points tonight. Let's talk about some props for this evening, and we can start with Klay Thompson here. His over-under for points is 20.5. I just don't see the Warriors shooting the ball as poorly as they did the other night. I see at least one of these 3 great shooters for the Warriors going off. Reno, is it going to be Klay?
I don't hate the play. I mean, you're going to give me a shooter to get some points on you, like it would be Klay. But I'm looking at Jordan Poole. I think that Jordan Poole is a person that he can shoot the ball really, really well, and he kind of did, especially when Klay wasn't having good, huge games. So I like his over point total tonight at 16.5. He's hit it, I think, 8 or 7 of the last 12 in the playoffs. I think he's a big part of the reason to be successful. Again, he's earned the time. He's earned if he gets the ball, he's earned the spot to make the plays, to make the shots. And I think 16.5 for him is very attainable. He was off a 19-point game in just 26 minutes last time out in a big blowout. Again, I don't see this game being 25. I think everybody's going to get a little bit more time. It's going to be a little bit more competitive, a little more close. He gets 33, 34 minutes. That's a few more points opportunities there. So I'm going to be all over Jordan Poole over the 16.5. I think that's a good play right there. Again, I don't hate the Klay play, but you got to you're kind of paying a premium there. You're going to have to score more points. So I think 16.5 is just more attainable and easier for me to lay.
Devin, I know there's a few props in this game you're looking into. Andrew Wiggins, the former number 1 overall pick. My buddy said this in a group chat the other night. He said, Andrew Wiggins is the perfect example of a guy that just needed a new job. He just needed a job change, and he fits in perfectly with what they're doing. He's out there giving them good minutes, filling up the stat sheet.
Yeah, I like Wiggins points and I like Wiggins rebounds, and I like Wiggins points and rebounds. 6 for me on the glass should be no problem. Steph Curry had 12 rebounds last game. That's not going to happen again. Someone else is going to have to get those boards, and Wiggins I think had 5. Wiggins will grab another 2. He'll have 7 or 8 boards. They're going to try to limit Draymond on the glass. Right, they're going to try to limit the guards on the glass so that the Warriors can't get out in transition. The worst case scenario for an opposing team is if Steph Curry gets a rebound out by the foul line and just turns around and goes. That you cannot defend that. You can't defend that. I think the Mavs know that. I think that they're gonna have their guards, pay a little closer attention to Klay and to Steph, and to Jordan Poole on the boards. So I like Wiggins' boards for sure, and I expect him to do what he's been doing throughout the playoffs, which is 17, 18, 19, 20 points. He is the X factor in terms of you pick your poison, right? You can't let Steph get hot. So you have to pretty much face guard Steph the whole game. You can't let Klay get hot. You have to pretty much face guard Klay the whole time. If you have a 3-man game with Poole, Wiggins, and Draymond, it's why I like the Poole play as well. Wiggins is scoring 22. I mean, he is a dominant inside-out player. I don't like when he shoots threes. Not a good stroke. But little pull-ups, offensive glass cleanup. I mean, he has been a all-around. He's been engaged on the defensive end. He's been an all-around player. I expect him to do the same thing. He's another guy that's got a chip on his shoulder, a lot to prove, as does Klay, which is why I never fade Seth Lockhart. I will be taking the Klay points, 15 and 0 in the first half, 15 in the second half. Heated up a little bit, got his legs underneath him. He's going to play 35 minutes. I like Klay. I like Wiggins over on points. I like Wiggins over on boards.
Johnny, who do you like on the Mavs from a props perspective?
So for me, I was kind of teetering on the Luka Doncic over under on his points. Again, I think he needs to have 30 to be successful for them to keep it kind of close. But I'm looking at Spencer Dinwiddie. Look, getting 12.5 on Spencer Dinwiddie, I think is a steal. I'm going to take the over on that. He's hit the last 3 games. I think he had 17 last game in 23 minutes, 30 and 25 minutes, 15 and 20 minutes before that. So I think it's 3 straight games. Again, for the Mavericks to have a chance, and for me, that's staying within 15 points. He needs to hit his shots. He needs to get some points. So I like that one. Again, I'd rather on a player that's more than capable to get 13 bet on that than try to bet on a 31, getting 31.5 in this situation. Again, I know he's going to put his shots up, but the Mavericks got to find answers elsewhere. And I think the Brunson prop over points is also going to be one that is going to have to hit for the Mavericks to kind of keep this respectable. So I think either of those players, Brunson or Dinwiddie, give me their overs. And I don't think I'm going to touch the Luka point prop just because I'm going to do the under on the threes again because I think he just hasn't been hitting his threes at a high clip. So that one. And then there's one more prop. It's kind of a rotary phone Ari prop. Kind of. It's a 3-point player prop, but it's on it's a Draymond Green over 0.5 3 points. Look. It's
just seeing that written out is hilarious.
It's a plus 195. Okay. The man will shoot. He does shoot a couple of games. He shot 1 last game, 2 games before that, 3 games before that. He's missed 7 straight.
Yeah, they're ugly. They're ugly shots. Let's just get that on the record.
He's a 31%. He shoots 31%. He's due. And here's the thing: you're getting, throw a little scratch on it. Throw a little pizza box money, right? He will shoot one, and if it hits, you doubled your money. So I actually like that prop because I know, especially if they get up, he's one of those guys. If you ever watch Warriors games and they're kind of like on a run, he likes to shoot. He's like, oh, okay, we're up 15. Let me just take this wide open 3 because they will let him shoot. They'll give him those threes, and trust me, he does make them at the most. Sometimes you're betting against him and they make them. So
he's the guy that hits the shot that leads to the other coach calling a timeout.
Yes. He's
like, okay, Draymond hit a 3. We got to call timeout. We got to figure this out.
So plus 195, really, really hard when all I need is one to go in, and he will shoot one. So
we got a good question here on YouTube that I want to run by you guys. I love that prop. I'm going to throw money on it. Brendan wanting to know, what's the highest alt spread you guys would take Golden State on? Devin mentioned Golden State by double digits. Devin, how high would you go with the Warriors against the spread here?
So this has got live bet written all over it, right? So for me, there'll be a point in this game. There always is. Last night, the Heat go up by 10, right? Hammered the Celtics. First half, overall for the game, alternate lines. I mean, I'm firing on all cylinders right now. I don't expect Dallas to lay down, right? And we have seen in previous series, if Golden State doesn't come out hot, right, they can go down 5, 6, 7 points. At that point, give me the Warriors -9.5. That's about as high as I would go. But that's going to be somewhere at that point. That's going to be somewhere around probably plus 185. And if I can get the Warriors plus 185 to win double digits tonight, I'm all over it.
Dan Farrell on YouTube is all over it as well. He says he loves it. He's going to ride. So let's go, Dan.
Let's go, Dan.
Get in. Let's get in.
Shout out, Dan.
I like the double digits. If I'm going to, you're putting a number on it, I think this game can get up, and I've said it, 14, 15 points. I think that's very attainable. And that's still, to me, the Mavericks keeping it respectable. If you can find, 12.5, I would be okay. Not putting a full unit on it, of course. That's definitely half unit, quarter unit, get over plus 200 on it. Because again, I think that ultimately the game will be closer than it was last time, but ultimately the Warriors will find a way to run away at the end is how I'm predicting the game. So I wouldn't be opposed couple scraps on a minus 12.5. Get it, at least 13 or more.
I want to mention one thing quickly too, because this was brought up earlier that the Suns absolutely blew out the Mavericks in the first 2 games, right? There could be a false sense of complacency inside the Mavs right now, maybe not being talked about, but I think that if they do go down 2-0 in its 2 blowouts, they're still going to be looking at this like we did it before, we can do it again. That is very, very dangerous thinking right now for that team because, as Seth and Gino have both mentioned, the Warriors are not the Suns. So I'm expecting them not to come out with that same fire that we saw last night in Miami from the Celtics, who were thinking to themselves, we go down 2-0 here. This is a tough road back. Like, this is not a must win because it's obviously we're still going home, but this is a pretty pivotal game. I don't know if the Mavs are going to look at it that way. And if you give the Warriors an inch, they're taking a mile. And I can just see the Mavs being a little bit with a false sense of security that it's okay if we go down 2-0. Newsflash, it is not okay. And I don't expect them to have that mindset that it's not okay, which is why, again, I'm going back to, I think 14, 15 is absolutely doable. I think 20 is doable. But for me, this game's going to be somewhere in the, Warriors 118, Warriors like 112, Mavs 98. I'm seeing it somewhere there. I think that's about what we'll see. I don't think the Mavs hit 100. They're just not very good offensively.
Yeah, and I know Luka doesn't have the experience in the NBA playoffs, but the guy is a baller. The guy, he does have, he went to the Olympics. He took Serbia to 4th place in basketball Olympics. Like, Serbia just him. Like, so he's been in high pressure situations. I don't think that they're going to he's taking this game as, we could lose. We've done it before. Because ultimately, you're going to, if you do that approach, you eventually got to win one in Golden State. And Game 7 is not the move in Golden State. So I don't think they're going to take that approach to it. I just think ultimately they're just outmanned. I think that they're going to probably go and try to fire on all cylinders, and they're going to try to hit some shots, but ultimately they're just going to fall a little bit short. And, that's just what I'm predicting. But I don't think they're going in, because if you think about it that way, you're like, okay, I think they have a better chance to win Game 2 in Golden State than Game 7 in Golden State. Because Game 7 in Golden State and you're the Mavs, you have this isn't Phoenix. They're not going to fold.
I mean, this one's not going to 7, but another play I like, which is I was on the other game as well, is the Mavericks team total under. It's at 104 right now. I'd be surprised. I'd just be surprised. I think if this game gets ugly early, we could see a very similar recipe to what we were looking at last time, which is pull your starters with 8 minutes left in the fourth. I can see that happening, which is why I'm a little bit weary of the over on some of the stars like Steph, Luka. Overs scare me a little bit. Both coaches know, and again, I think the Mavs are thinking we're just going to get back to Dallas. We'll win a couple there, tie this thing at 2, and we'll move on. So if they go down 20 in the third, they're gonna pull their guys.
No, I think that's really smart observation because, like you said, they probably are thinking to themselves, if they're a smart coaching staff, let's just cut our losses now. We know we're going home, where Johnny mentioned they have a good home court advantage. Luka is clearly dealing with something both physically and, in his stomach or whatever. He's ill. So,
sour beer.
Yeah. We're going to have to get your Snapchat friends, into this show right now. We'll have to get them on the horn here and see where they got those pictures. If you guys have any questions, by the way, fire away on YouTube, fire away on Twitter. Get in here, ask us questions.
A way to. I'm trying to see. I can't find it right now to do an exact score. Because I think I mentioned it. You said 104, under 104. I like it because I'm thinking like if I can find like a 112 or 114 or 100, I think I might take that. Like a just little scraps on it, but I don't know if I can find that. That might be like an exact score because I do think the Mavericks got to get right to like 100. I don't think they're gonna get much more. Get to 100, lose about 14, 15 points. Yeah. So I think that might be a good little play.
That's why I like the under as well, just because I Golden State's done this enough too to be respectful about it. And you've mentioned if this game goes the way that we think it's going to go, and this could all be horseshit. Who knows? We don't. This is why they play the game, right? All we can do is take the intel that we have and try to make educated, assessments on where the best value is, right? That's what we're doing here. We're not guaranteeing anything. No one ever is. But I think if this goes the way that the numbers to me are pointing that it's going to go towards, that we're going to have a Mavericks under 104 for sure. And that the Warriors will take their foot off the gas at some point because they don't want to give them any locker room material to be like, oh, they're disrespecting you. They're doing this, they're doing that. Other teams have done that, right? We saw that happen even with last series, the Grizzlies. Steph's going to do his little 3 dances, and he's going to do that shit in the first 3 quarters. But if the game's not close, he's not doing that. He's not giving you a reason for a bulletin board material. They're smarter than that. So if this game isn't close with 8 minutes left in the fourth, Warriors are going to pull their guys, and Kerr's going to say, go out there and play. Don't shoot fadeaway threes, kill the clock, run this thing down, and essentially be respectful about it. And I've seen the Warriors do this for years now. They will not. It's Belichick-esque in the sense that they just want to win the game. And they want to win the game without really having to stress it and without giving you a reason, especially having to play you again at home to get rowdy. So that's why I like the under.
To your point, though, and this is where it gets scary if you're on the Warriors, because you just brought up a kind of a scary – if you got Warriors backers, which I think a lot of us are going to be, the Warriors know, right? They may not – tell you on the court, they're not rubbing in your face. I think Steph, the dances, stop it. You act like you've never been there before.
It's fun, though. It's fun.
But why I don't like it is because people ragged on Memphis for acting that way because they were excited about being in the playoffs, and we champion the Warriors, who are multiple-time champion winners. Like, act like you've been there before. But the scary part with being a Warriors backer is they know they are better. They knew they were better than Memphis. They knew that. They didn't have Ja. Memphis didn't have Ja. And they played that game where we were like, my goodness, 9-point dogs. Memphis might win in Golden State and take this series. They probably should have. They were up the whole game. But Warriors know. If you watch that entire game, I was sitting there, I'm like, Warriors are going to win this game. I just felt it that the Memphis was never being able to extend the lead, and Warriors finally took the lead with 45 seconds. Sometimes the Warriors, they do know, and I'm not saying they're putting, they're going soft on the gas pedal, but they're not going to panic if they do get down 5, 7, 8 points, and they're kind of riding, just kind of getting down 8, or I cut it to 2, get down 5, or I cut it back to 1, get down 6, or I cut it to 1. And then take the lead at the end of the game, not cover the spread for the spread backers. It's something that can happen because they have the experience. They're not going to panic if they get down. Some teams get down, they start taking stupid shots. They start panicking. I don't see that with the Warriors. They can get down and they can play a very slow, steady, controlled game, and then just kind of take the lead right at the end. And that's the scary part because they are that good. They probably know they do outman the Mavericks. They're going to play a game. They just need to win the game. You said it. They're just trying to win the game. They don't care if they win it by 3. They don't care if they win it by 18. They're just trying to win the game. And one rebuttal
to that though is no Steve Kerr, a massive X factor. For me, he's the best coach in the NBA. It's not close. And again, experience. That little scare that we saw, that little Warriors team being careless with the ball, just running down, turning it over, giving up transition layups, letting Jaren Jackson shoot threes in their face. Like that doesn't happen if Steve Kerr's on the sidelines. And he's on the sidelines now. He's not going anywhere. And that's when the experience of coaching in high pressure situations really pays off because he will take that timeout. He'll get them fired up. He'll tell them, listen, you don't need to do too much. You are a better team. But right now, let's go do it in the 3rd instead of waiting and leaving it up to chance in the 4th. So that's where the difference is between these series is we've got Steve Kerr for every game. And he's unmatched, in my opinion, at getting the most out of his players at critical moments. So I don't think that he'll allow the Warriors to be vulnerable in this series at all. I think it's gas pedal from the start, but then it's let's be respectful. That's my take.
Guys, great hoops convo today. Just a solid hoops betting conversation. I'm going to make some money this weekend. I don't know about you guys. Celtics are going to go up, 3-1 by Monday night. And then, it's going to be smooth sailing the rest of the way. Johnny, I wanted to give you a spot here to talk baseball before we head out because our man, I know it for the last few days maybe wasn't as hot as he has been all season, but the man has been on a heater this season generally. So congrats to you.
We applaud you.
Give us some baseball knowledge here. Let us put some baseball money in our pocket as we head into the weekend.
Look, I think make sure it hasn't started. Yeah, so I'm actually going to be on the there's 3 things in life that are always going to be something you can count on, and that's death, taxes, and the Cubs playing a home 1 p.m. Start game on Fridays. They just always have that Friday 1 o'clock slot, and it's almost if they're at home, they're playing 1 o'clock on Friday. It's tradition. I'm going to be on the Cubs. They have a better pitching matchup. The game starts in about an hour and 20. I like their pitching matchup. Hendricks has been kind of inconsistent. He's got 6 earned runs or more in 2 of his 6 starts. One of them was a 5 earned run start. But other than that, been really solid. He's coming off 2 1 earned run starts, 1 combined earned run starts over his last 2 starts at 8.2 innings and 5.2 innings. The Diamondbacks, who have been better offensively and winning games, they still bat .206 for the season. They just won yesterday, 3-1. They kind of had to use some bullpen. Zach Gallen didn't go as deep as he should have, and they have the 3rd worst bullpen in the league this year. So the Cubs, who I thought were going to struggle to start the season on the bullpen, have actually been really, really good. They have the 3rd best bullpen with a 3.0 ERA. So I think Hendricks can get 6-7 innings, get your bullpen in for 1 or 2, and you can kind of get away with an early win and get some units up for your basketball betting tonight.
There you go. Devin, you got anything outside of the NBA that you're looking at this weekend?
Well, I'm all over that.
You got any puck plays for us?
That's absolutely free. I love hockey unders. I'm just gonna say that.
Puck.
Yeah. Shout out my man Gino. Playoff hockey unders outside of a game that was 6-9. I like playoff hockey unders.
That was wild.
That was wild. I'll be showing.
Insane.
I'll be talking units on that. But I have to give a shout out to This came up in the, on the sucker, you know this about me. You show me plus 2,500, I'm taking it. Okay.
Duh.
And it's here in the comments. It's the locksmith, Seth Lockard, plus 2,500. Klay, 20 or more points. Poole, 20 or more points. Wiggins, 6 or more rebounds. Draymond, 6 or more rebounds. Warriors, money line. It's a combination of everything that we talked about. It's a combo parlay.
Yeah. And it's juiced up, right? Because it's Poole 20 and it's 6, so it's juiced up. You're juicing up. What's Klay's actual point total? 20?
I think it was 20 and a half or
Yeah,
something.
Okay, so you bought down
20 and a half.
Yeah, so you're taking Klay down, you're taking Poole up.
Yeah.
Draymond, I love the Wiggins 6 rebounds. I love Draymond 6 rebounds, or excuse me, 8 rebounds. I think he had 9 last game. He had 15 the game before that. These are, again, in these moments, right? The team that stays within themselves and they have their role players play their role. Everyone plays their position. Those are the teams that we're going to start seeing excel, right? So
I got to lock this in.
Yeah, the Mavs' path to victory is Luka's got to have 35. He's got to be Luka. He's got to have 10 boards. He's got to have 8 assists, and they need to shoot 40% from 3. That's them doing their thing, right? The Warriors doing their thing is Klay 20, Poole 20, Wiggins 6 boards, Draymond 8 boards in an easy victory. So plus 2,500, Locker, we fly high, we ball in. You know what I'm saying?
I also see Gino. Gino has a ticket on the Warriors to win the title beginning of the year.
Wow.
So he got plus 900 on the title. I got plus 1,200 when I put it in. We had to do the preseason plays for Vegas Insider. Tom Cunningham gets us to write us whatever, who we think. I had Warriors plus 1,200 to win, and I had it was plus 9 to win the West. I got a couple tickets here just on the bookshelf waiting to get cashed. And I honestly, like when I took it, I was like, I love the price. Klay's going to be back. Great price. You still have a championship. The same team, people that won the championship, the same coach. You got a couple younger guys. I love that price. So, hey man, Warriors holding. If you're holding a Warriors ticket, it might be something to hedge when they play the Celtics.
That's right, baby. Let's go,
Tommy. Before we go, I've got an idea.
We've
done it before. We already have a play. We've already got a play from Reno, right? We're taking the Cubs money line, 220. I'm gonna throw my play out there. I'm gonna take the Rangers and Carolina game. I'm gonna take the under 5.5 goals. That's tonight at 8. Can you give us a lock so I can throw in a 3-team heater so that we can have a Power Rangers parlay?
Oh man, yeah. Can I just do Warriors against the spread? I'm gonna go over.
100% you can. And that covers 3 sports. It's a cross-pollination parlay. It's Warriors minus 6.5. It's the Cubs money line, and it's the under in the Rangers Carolina game at under 5.5. You're gonna go ahead and lock that in. All right, that's your daily insider Power Rangers cross-pollination parlay. You heard it here first. It's a lengthy title, but it's worth it because it'll swell your pockets.
Anytime you can cross-pollinate, that's just good for the environment, from what I understand.
I love it.
Someone's got to fight climate change.
Shout out beekeepers.
Yeah, hashtag beekeepers.
Guys, pleasant afternoon with the two of you. Devin, before we go, bit of melancholy news from you, but, I think you should share it now. This is going to be your last Daily Insider with us for a few months here.
Yeah, it's I've been accepted into a meditation retreat, very exclusive, and I'll be heading out sometime in the next few days. So I will not be able to join the Daily Insider for a little bit. I'm going to be getting my Zen on. It seems very unlike me to miss the NBA playoffs, but everything with balance, right? So I'm gonna go to a silent retreat where I will just be very quiet. And I'll just be kind of meditating and thinking about NFL football, and then I'll come back right with hopefully some big projections for the NFL season. And it maybe now is not the time to fully drop this, but a tease I think is okay. There will be a NFL gambling podcast on the books very shortly, and that will be a show that no one wants to miss. I've got some wild ideas. I've got confetti cannons. I've got some pretty hilarious sponsorships lined up. So you're not going to want to miss that. But for now, I bid you adieu. Go Celtics. And I appreciate you, boys.
Devin, it's been a pleasure having you, and we will see you in a few months. Reno Johnny, we will still have you aboard here, making us all money throughout the rest of the NBA playoffs. I'm Tommy Freeze Pops. Thanks for joining us today on the Daily Insider. Best of luck with your bets.
Bleed green!